Hello and welcome to the Blue House Bull Session. Here, back bulling with you on today, whatever today is, the 9th of 12 September 12th. That's what it is. I swore I'd never forget. Too soon? Too soon. Okay, sorry, that one was bad. Welcome. We are here, joined as always by my best friend forever and co-host Uber Fuzzy. How are you? How has your week been? What's new and exciting?
It's been
1 week since you looked at me.
Yeah, no. It's been 5 days?
Since dinner, since Monday.
Although, speaking of Monday dinner, I saw somebody else be sooner than that.
Yes.
I cheated on you and had dinner with Aunt PJ without you.
Yes, indeed you did. I half picked up that you were going to do that, but I didn't know it was like a solid plan. But then I got your messages, and I'm like, oh yeah, he actually did it. And thank you for going over to help her out. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Well,
she had some wireless printer troubles, and it wasn't connecting. And then we figured out why. It's because her printer's from 1992.
Yeah.
It doesn't. Her printer only supports WPA wireless. She recently got fiber, and they replaced her router and modem box,
which no longer speaks.
Which no longer has WPA. And in theory, I could have turned it on the router, and I'm like, no,
not worth it. Yeah.
She prints as infrequently. And she does have a method she can put the file on a thumb drive. And for whatever reason, this printer has a USB port, and you can just put files on it and access it through there and print from a thumb drive directly. So it's this intersection of it has USB printing, but only WPA.
Yeah. Well, it's the problem we had with the Nintendo DS is they only supported WPA.
Yep, that's what I was telling her. I'm like, oh, this is why the Wi-Fi at your house was slow and broken for a long time, is we had that one exact router because of the things.
At least in part. Yeah. Because if you wanted to play any of the DS games that supported online stuff, which Desi and I both did. Speaking of Nintendo DS games, speaking of Nintendo in general,
I caught the last 15 minutes of it.
Okay, I was going to ask, what did you see and what did you think?
I saw some of the Pokemon stuff, but I wasn't really paying attention. Goddamn Donkey Kong Country
getting
Supreme
DLC
World.
already, yeah.
No. Just in general, it looks so good.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not the biggest Donkey Kong fan, but the more I watch of that game, it seems like something I would play.
They did something right this time. It's Donkey Kong 64 for the modern era. It's legit a collectathon.
It's everything people loved about Mario 64,
Yeah.
just with the giant Donkey Kong.
Like, how can we do this again without just remaking it? I know. We'll put one of our other IP characters in there.
Yeah.
It seems to be working out. Did you see the new announcement?
Virtual Boy.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Virtual Boy?
yeah,
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 I
yeah.
did not see that. I was planning on back and watching the direct video, but I saw the memes.
I personally am super excited. I'm a little bummed that you'll have to buy the stand and shell and everything.
That's bullshit.
Yeah, yeah.
That's going to be a 3D printed hack within like a day.
Yeah.
The second somebody gets their hand on one of those, they're going to LiDAR scan the crap out of it. There will be files online, and then within a week there will be a RetroPie
firmware patch, yeah,
module.
whatever.
Yeah,
That thing.
right. Yeah, they're going to sell exactly like one of them to somebody with a scanner. Because no,
I would say too, because I'm also stupid, but I wasn't real clear on if it only worked with Switch 2 or if it also worked with Switch. Because if it'll
there's a
work with
very good chance.
that janky Switch that I bought, then I might get it. But I do not have enough
If it
money
does
to
work
get a
with
Switch
Switch 1,
2.
it probably doesn't work with a Switch Lite, to be honest. Well, it's only because the way I think it's going to work is when you dock a regular Switch, the video actually goes out over that cable. It doesn't
Right.
have to be a dock, but it actually has the hardware to send the video signal out over the USB. The trace line that they send that over does not exist in the Switch Lite.
Yeah, I think I might actually at some point have to get a Switch 2 for a handful of reasons, and that is actually one of them.
It did not seem like a good enough upgrade if you had. It definitely was not a good upgrade if you already had an OLED,
Right.
because you were actually going down in screen quality. If you already had the Switch OLED and you bought it for the reason of getting an OLED, wait till they come out with the Switch 2 OLED, because you know they're going to make them.
Yeah.
It was shortages in timing. If you had a regular Switch,
Maybe if you wanted to play any of the things that were Switch 2
you're waiting on
exclusives,
games. If you had a Switch Lite, unless you bought it for very specific reason, like I'm only ever going to play this on mobile. Like I have a 45-minute bus commute and I need something to do, and you need the compact portability. They're probably never going to make a they're not going to make a Lite again.
Yeah.
They just won't. It's a cluster of problems, and the non-detachability, and every time Nintendo makes a smaller version of their consoles, they sell to a very niche set of people, but they don't go off like gangbusters because it's still the same hardware. You're
Right.
just buying a slightly more portable, like the Pocket, was it the Pocket, the little one?
Yep. The
Now that
GBA
one,
Pocket.
that
No,
that one,
micro.
yeah,
Micro. Because that's the one that had
the
the
micro.
face plates. Yeah.
Yeah, the micro, that's a significant physical like size. That was worth buying to literally keep like in your thing. But like just we're gonna make it slightly smaller. It's like no.
Yeah.
The only reason the SP sold as well as it did was for the fact it had a screen that could close, and also it was backlit.
Yep.
Because that was the first one they did backlighting on.
And the SP's the design they, in theory, should have had from the start. The Game Boy Advance was neat and cool and nifty and new and all of that, but they really hit the design stride with the SP. But Yeah, I'm
Bleh.
I'm thinking because Switch 2 is now on my list.
It's,
We'll
I
see.
mean, if you don't, if you're not like violently reactive hatred of Nintendo products and that whole ecosystem, it's got a lot of fun games, and it's sadly, other than getting like a Steam Deck, which in that case you're just playing PC games, whereas at least Switch games know they're potentially going to be portable.
Yeah.
Most of them have that in mind. They know their limitations because they know the they have the Apple bonus. They know their hardware. They know what platform they're going to be on. They know what their target audience is. You know, you release something on PC and you're like, okay, is this going to be on a 4x3? Is this going to be a 16x9? Is this going to be some crazy, what was it, like 43x9 triple wide curved monitor
Yeah.
or some shit?
Yeah.
And you're like, yeah. Are they going to be on a laptop with touch controls? Are they going to be using a mouse? Are they going to have hover? Are they going to have right click?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know, it we are facing some of the stuff in our games. It's like
Actively,
I
yeah.
have to I have to remind, like, we added, somebody brought up when we added the recipe ingredients in the hover for the recipe book.
Yeah.
They pointed out you cannot hover on a touch system. You can drag, so the game still works, but they did not realize that there was properties that we were showing on hover.
Right.
And I'm like, "Oh, I know how we can fix this. It would require, it's not a trivial, I'll just throw in a 5-minute PR and get it out. I know how we mechanically would fix this, and we probably should do it in the future if we want to support more touch interfaces,
Which we should.
hypothetically. Yeah.
We should.
Also just controller support in general. I don't know if it's worth doing right now because of web-based things, but if we, in theory, for future products when we are building them in other languages,
Yes.
we should consider controller support.
Yes. That's an issue that is really me and me specifically because I come up with the concept and then I start writing it the way I intend to play it. And
Yes.
my problem is I write for me. And then I
Yep.
have to go back and adjust for everybody if I want everybody to play. There was a game like that in the Switch Direct today that I saw in the Nintendo Direct today, not Switch Direct. It's not just the Switch. Me, 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 me. Um, it was a cool first-person shooter. It was Doom meets same game, and I can't remember what it was called. It is a platform shooter puzzler where you match colors, and each player has two colors, and things can be a bunch of different colors to encourage collaborative whatnot. You have to get
Hmm.
groups of three of the same color block together to make the block enemies go away. Anyway, that's the important part there is the color bit because the differentiator between the types of laser fields and blocks and everything is color. And I am not colorblind, but I am very close to a number of people who are. So that is one piece of accessibility that sticks in my head is don't make color your only differentiator. And then I saw that and I'm like, hmm.
Yep.
So the game looks interesting. I'm hopeful they handle it right, but they did not show off anything to indicate that. But it's also a weirdly good feeling to be able to look at it and go like, because it means there's something that lives in my head. A good thing.
Yep. I started after years of doing that kind of work at the red job, uh, which wasn't even part of my job, and wasn't even something we required. We did it because we were nerds. Because we had a website that was primarily reading based, and we made sure that anything that was conveyed in a picture was also in the text below it, or in the figure caption or whatever. At least bringing you to, and we tried going forward after a certain point. We tried to make sure there were proper uh both alt text and title text and screen description text, which are three different text fields, people.
Yep.
The hover text is not your alt text. There's a difference. Don't put the same thing in both. And then stuff like making sure, colors of things and styling and like we started running tools to try to get at least bare minimum. It only took maybe a day's worth of code changes to get to A standard. I think very quickly we got to double A, and I don't think we ever hit triple A UCAG standards on all pages because there was
Yeah.
some weird navigation thing that, like, if you don't include that, the site we control was triple A rated.
Yeah.
But because of things we had to include in it, it broke it, and we're just like, eh, ignore that. Validate the rest of it, you
Mm-hmm.
know?
Mm-hmm.
It's like the Google Ads insert breaks all the security checks. So
Mm-hmm.
you run them when you run it through validation check, don't include the Google because like the weird anonymous function before it was standard.
Yup.
The I
Yup.
the isogram. You're a web nerd if you recognize those parameters isogram.
No. Dino says hello to everybody.
So my story today.
Yes, please.
Okay. So we're trying to fix this client's document storage thing.
Yeah.
And another teammate had already sent the private key off to the customer, but we have to send those through a secure email. It's encrypted Outlook. It's a thing. It,
Yeah.
it works. It's dumb, but it works. But it's sent directly from an email, so it's not in the email. It's not in the help desk software, so we don't know what he actually sent. But he was out to lunch and a doctor's appointment, so he wouldn't be back. But they were actively broken. So it's like, hey, can you take a look at this? I'm like, sure. I go in there and they've got two keys in the system. Normally you don't.
Right.
But maybe he didn't know what it was, so he made a new one, sent them that one. So I'm like, okay. The client sent back a picture of the error messages key couldn't validate, which means like it was the wrong format or something. And she cut it off to not show the key, right? Because it's just it's like an MD5. It's
It,
probably like a MD47 or whatever, but it's just a long
yeah.
hexadecimal string. She cut it off, but at the very bottom of the picture was a single line of pixels of the top edge of the characters.
Which was just enough.
So I took the picture and I've lined up the windows and I sized it to where I could set it across the top of it and compare the two, and I could figure out which of the long strings it was just based on the individual top pixels
Mm-hmm.
of like the W's and the H's and the few letters that like went one pixel up higher than the others. And I'm like, okay, I know which key he sent. Wrote this all up and I'm like, oh, okay. He sent the new key, but they didn't change the client ID. It's effectively OAuth tokens. You need a client ID and the secret ID and
Oh,
the secret value.
yeah.
But they have to go together because you put in the client ID, then you generate it. And it's an OAuth, it's a glorified OAuth token. But you need both halves of it. But he sent them the new key and did not send them the new client ID.
Ah.
And I noticed in the screenshot it still had the old one. I'm like, Okay, they've got two keys, A and B. The client ID in their field is still to the A one, but I can tell by the pixels at the bottom he sent them the B key. I don't know if that's just a descriptor or it needs that, but here's the text of it. And they came back and their account manager came in and was like, I'm gonna go ahead and send them that. Tell them to update that. They said, oh yeah, we swapped out the client application text and it worked. They're all happy. It was kind of an urgent thing.
Yeah.
And they came back and says, wait, what do you mean you can tell by the pixels? And I had to explain to her
Yeah.
the same thing where like I could tell by the pattern of these these few pixels along the bottom, it was this one, and I cut off the same picture, because she can see the key also.
Right.
So I like showed her like how it lined up, and she's like, "Oh my god, that is the nerdiest thing I've ever seen. I don't think anybody would have thought to check that." And I'm like, "Has
I am
nobody
glad
done
we
that
provided service that goes above and beyond.
Yeah, I mean, you can tell it's really it's they're learning I have skills like that.
Yeah. Yeah. Which
So that was my
is
gold
good
star
but
moment.
dangerous. Good but dangerous right there to demonstrate that you have that capacity, you have that capability. Because then they start calling you when they don't know what to do. And the problem is they may not know what to do during a time when you're not available, and that may not stop them.
No, because I document everything I do.
Yeah, well.
Because the documentation
You're,
is
you're
fairly lacking,
you're counting on people reading documentation, which is a stretch in my opinion, but
but it exists.
yes, it does.
They can't claim, but did you document it?
That is true. It shouldn't be an adversarial question in the first place, but that's a whole different conversation.
Well, I mean, we're also supposed to leave notes on tickets,
Right.
like of what you did. So in case they go and she's like, hey, we had so and so help come and help us, did this 3 months ago when it's expired last time, and you find the ticket and they're like, okay, try it now. And
Yeah.
you're like, what did you do? So I leave very verbose notes. Sometimes our tool, Salesforce, does some weird connector thing and brings up all this useful information at the top. Sometimes it doesn't, and you have to take the person's email, run it through one tool to find their username, take that username into a different tool to find what client ID they are, and then what environment they're in, because it doesn't always say it doesn't say like,
Glom
oh,
onto
they're
everything,
in
right? Yeah.
they're in group 10. Are they in group 10A, 10B, or 10C? And you have to do this investigator. So whenever time I do that, I immediately put that in a private comment on the ticket. Even if I'm not doing the ticket, if I'm just scrolling through and just perusing, if I take a minute to do that work, I put it there to save the next person who can actually go and fix that thing 5 minutes of sleuthing. Ooh, what do you got?
Mr.
What do you got?
Hero, made
Oh
fresh
man.
for you. No, it's not made fresh. They changed it to prepared fresh for you for some reason, even though made fresh for you has a better lyrical rhythm. But I got a cheesesteak, oh yes,
Mm.
and some fries and some mozzarella sticks and a brownie. This episode sponsored by Ashley. Thank you. I love you. Yes.
I had Irish egg rolls last night.
Uh-oh. You guys went you went to Hooley House? You ordered from Hooley House, one of those two?
Uh, I don't want to say the name because it'll very much dox the area she's in,
Yeah.
but Irish pub down the street from her, near
Oh,
the
the other
highway.
one. The other one. Like not the
Yes,
chain one. Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
yeah,
Okay, yes, you don't have to say the name, but I absolutely know which one you're talking about. Man, that
yes.
place is not. I went there with Bruce a couple times. Way
Oh yeah,
back
that
when I
is
was
out.
working with him, yeah.
Yeah, man. Whatever happened to him?
Well, you see, his Dropbox account got hacked, and it was opened under an account under an email that I have control over. So I heard from him recently, and there's a whole situation there that I'm still kind of untangling that I need to get back in touch with him about. So thank you for the accidental reminder that I need to bake some time into my weekend to fix problems that 15 years ago me created. 16 years ago, 15 years ago, around there.
How old does something have to be vintage?
20 years.
20 years?
20 years.
Brace your back and your hips because next year we're going to have vintage Blu-rays
Yep.
in 1080.
Yep.
We will have vintage video that is 1080p.
I mean, part of the whole direct thing was it's Mario's 40th.
Yeah.
You know, yes, they are still making new games with this character, but this franchise has been around for 40 years. Wild, ain't it? I want to do a direct. I don't think I want to call it a direct, but I want to do a direct. For us. I want a cool marketing event with what we're working on.
Well,
I'm going to be eating my
when
cheese sticks covered in cheese.
we should have one that we should do it for the launch of Cafe.
Fair.
Because that'd be the headliner is, hey, we're launching, Cafe's finally out. It's out for real. That sort of thing.
Yeah.
And then also here is also announcing replacing it in EA status.
Perpetual early access, yeah.
Well, the net, hey, we're done. By the way, the reason it took so long is we're not just working on that and it takes a while to debug some of that.
Mm-hmm.
Is also we're announcing our next game now in early access, this, and then tease, some of the other stuff that's partially done, and also just promote the other stuff. I have an official looking. Oh, I have a safety recall.
Ooh.
Multi-vehicle line front brake jounce hose leaks. What the fuck is a jounce?
I do not know.
On your vehicle, brake fluid may leak from one or both flexible brake hoses. Oh. The amount of brake fluid is depleted below a predetermined level, brake fluid warning will illuminate. Okay.
Time to get rid of your car. Time to get a new one. Sell me your old one.
I legitimately kind of want an EV. I think I want like a hybrid one.
Mm-hmm.
But like one of those, like, it's got a couple gallons in case you need it or your power is enough to get you someplace, But like for most of the driving I do, other than commuting, but even that is going to change. Like I don't go very far. My average gas mileage went up another 0.1.
Nice. Nice.
I have driven enough in 90 days that I it that's now the third one. And mind you, that information doesn't go, like, that never goes away. So that's over the lifetime of the car, and it's a 2014 car.
Mm-hmm.
So the average mileage on that is pretty well, baked in. And I've been driving it for 5 or 6 years, and it's pretty firmly in the 24 now 0.7 range.
Nice.
Oh, that was not my letter. I sold a thing earlier, and the lady, it's like, all right, like, okay, I'm like 5 minutes away, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go put it out in the box because I'm about to get on a call.
Yeah.
Um, oh no, she said, I'm getting off work in 5 minutes. I need the address. I'm like, okay, here's the address. I'm gonna go put it outside because I'm about to go get on the phones. She says, okay, I'm here. I'm like, okay, it's in the box. It's in my delivery box. If you have
Yeah.
cash, leave it in there. If not, let me know what service. I'm on a call right now, so I can't really go and meet you. Says, I don't see a box. Wait, I might have the wrong house. Pause. I had the wrong house.
I had that happen with a food delivery I've gotten, and I've noticed that of the I'm torn what who I do and don't want to call out. Of the multiple delivery services I use for things, there is only one service, and I have verified my information in this. I have checked to make sure I don't have anything wrong. But there is one service that consistently transposes 2 digits. My my address has a 7 and a 6 in it. Doxed. I'm doomed. There is an address on the same street with a 6 and a 7 in the same positions but flipped. 4 or 5 houses down from me. There is one delivery service where it's a coin flip which house it will land at. For everyone else, it shows up at the right one. But for this one service, and I don't know if it's a specific driver or not, I should keep my eye out for that. They will take it to the 6-7 house instead. And I put in my delivery notes distinctive features about this house that should, in theory, make it impossible to miss. And it doesn't
It
work.
is the X color. If the house is not that color, you are at the wrong house.
And that house is definitely not this color.
There is a house 3 doors down from me that has the hundreds digit is off by one, but the other 3
Mhm.
digits are the same.
Mhm.
And that house didn't used to exist just a few years ago. So depending on how outdated maps they're using, and if they come from the other side, they're just looking down the street and they see 75% of a match and they stop there.
Mhm.
It also doesn't help that for whatever cosmic jokery, that digit on my mailbox is the one that faded. Like the ink just faded. I will send you a picture later. When I show you this, you're gonna be like, what the hell? The other digits are fine. They're readable. They're peeling off a little bit, but they're perfectly fine. But that one digit, which is the only one that get confused with the people down the street, is the one that just like decayed and faded. And I'm like,
Yup. Yup.
I got rid of the popcorn machine.
Yay!
Yeah.
Yay! I'll call that a victory. I'll call that a victory.
Access can be pulled. The client messed with stuff. Ugh.
I went way overboard. I keep going way overboard. You and I have talked about this. As a matter of fact, you and I sat outside in the backyard by your fire table having this exact conversation where I said, it's okay not to add everything to a project I'm working on. I can save some of it for another project. I really can. I can write down these ideas and put them wherever.
Mm-mm.
Anyway,
Nope.
the NPC quest system in Fish Digits works now.
But they don't have any buildings to live in.
Well, see, the thing about that is the map transitions work now.
No
The
map transitions. One big open scene.
I really gave some serious consideration to that.
Do it.
The reason I didn't is your bed.
So?
You have to go in your house to go to your bed.
Oh yeah, you can go inside buildings are different transitions, but the whole rest of the outside world should just be a sliding viewport. You were just always at the center. The map moves around. No hard edges. You were always at the center. Move the viewport.
Maybe.
Come on, do it.
Maybe. I don't know. I like the idea of a couple distinct areas, but they're big.
So fade the tile sets.
I, like big, not problematic, but like I like having separate areas because I have map transitions. It feels like tradition to me. This is what is expected. It lets you mentally segment it off. And it saves me overhead because there are things that don't have to happen in every area.
What are you optimizing for? A refrigerator?
Yes. No, I'm putting the sections in because I want the sections. It's a style thing.
Look, everybody loved the way Zelda Tilt and Tumble worked because it was open world and there were no edges. You just went.
Yes.
Everybody loved that.
Yes. My counter argument is that means I don't have to put in screen transitions. I don't have to chunk the map up like Link to the Past, which had 4 screen transitions or area
Right.
transitions. But as a style choice, the Link's Awakening remake
Yeah.
has area transitions.
Yes. But it's by the actual logical sections, not just arbitrary. We can only hold
Right.
16
And
by 20
that's what I'm doing.
tiles.
That's what I want to do. The entirety of the lake area is a section. The entirety of the town is a section. I don't know what the third area is yet. Yes, I do. I just don't want to admit it to myself.
The dump.
No, the third area is the forest that is also the mines.
Oh, the mine's got to be under the town.
I don't want to do the mining. I just want a dungeon. The dungeon is a forest instead.
You can have a dungeon in a forest.
Weren't we just talking about how I need to stop stapling things to this game?
Put a mine under everywhere. Put a mine under everywhere, including under the lake, and that's the flooded mine.
And then we need the desert and the lava areas. And the cloud castle. We'll see how it works. We'll see how it works. I'll just put it there for now. We'll leave that. We'll see how it works. I am farting around with it still, but I have primarily figured out how to do some things that would be really nice in another game, and I still like this one, but it's also a throw one away, but I'm still going to see it through to the finish because I want it to exist. But I gotta tell you, we need to do a Stardew Valley. We need to do a Harvest Moon. Because in the course of making fish digits, I've accidentally figured out solutions to a lot of interesting things and features that would make it so cool, and not just an existing,
Oh, I do own Stardew Valley. Last played 2016.
I would be genuinely surprised if you didn't.
I bought it I last played it in 2016. I wonder when I bought it. Probably older. Probably not too much before that.
Yeah. I was a little surprised that Jacob did not own it, but not by much.
Well, it's one of those things that it's one of those games where if you don't have the time to play, it's one of the games that just sucks up all the time.
Also, based on
Ever.
his gaming style and his gaming history, it's one of those that he wouldn't think about buying. Like he could be aware of its existence, but it's not the type of game he buys. If he got gifted it, he'd play the hell out of it, and he has been.
Oh, I've got a lot of games like that. That's why every time you're like, "Oh, do you want it for research?" I'm like, eh, no, because I don't know if I would play it.
Would you
I've
try
got
it?
enough stuff.
Would you try it more than you could in a demo? I guess that's the best way to phrase that.
What I would like to do, ideally, there's a lot of games I would try and maybe put more than demo amount of play into them if I did not have to pay for them.
Hmm.
If I had a Xbox Gold
Game Pass, whatever. Yeah,
Pro, yeah, a Game Pass like thing, I would try something, play it for like, I don't feel like completing this, but I had my 1 week rental. You know, what I want is like not Game Pass because I don't want like Netflix problem of 1,000 games but nothing you actually want to play. What I want is I want GameFly. I want to
yeah,
pick a game, and then I have that game, and my goal is to play that game.
yeah.
I want library, not Netflix. I'll play the game in front of me because it's the only option. If like we had a Steam family or something set up and one of us had it, there's a lot of games that I would probably play, but I wouldn't want to buy because I don't feel like I would ever complete it, and I don't feel like giving the people the money for it again. Uh-oh, he's got those eyes.
No, I'm trying to parse the last part of your statement there because I think I have a reputation, but before I do that, I'm not sure I understand.
I don't know if I would want to give both my time and my money to some developers, but I would want to play their game a little bit, but I don't want to go buy another copy. You borrowed Switch game from me. I don't remember
Hmm.
what.
Hmm.
Okay. You did not give them your money. Between the two of us, they only got one set of money. How much of that game did you play? Did you play a ton of it? Or did you play it for like a week or two until like it got the dopamine out of your brain and whatever?
Making much more sense, although my literal answer to your question is not the correct one you are counting on in your assumption, but the circumstances are slightly different. With that said, your argument makes much more sense. I heard but did not connect to your discussion
Yeah.
that you'd mentioned having a Steam family or something like that.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
If none of us have the game and it's not coming out of your pocket, do not hesitate to say, I want to try this and I don't want to pay for it.
I wish you could rent
Mm-hmm.
PC games.
Yeah.
You can still rent or at least borrow, rent for free. You can borrow of some variety physical console games.
Mm-hmm.
Libraries have a ton of them now. I think you get like a week per checkout just to kind of, give you time to play, but also, so you don't keep it forever. There's a lot of console games. I would definitely
I got it.
I would want to try, but I also don't want to pay for.
Mm-hmm.
But I also don't want anybody else to pay for it. Like I'll be honest, a lot of it's PlayStation games, and a lot of it's, I hate to say it, Sony publisher. You know, I there's a lot of console specific stuff that I don't want to go buy a console for. And also I don't know anybody with the games to borrow them from,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
you know. If all of my friends were Xbox gamers, I probably would have got into more consoles because I'd be like, hey Matt, I'm borrowing this. You're not playing it sitting on your shelf. I borrowed a ton of games from Kevin because he had that wall of games. I used to watch his apartment when he was starting to go out of town.
Yeah.
I'd go over there, bring in his mail, check on his stuff, or like, and he's like, "Hey, go over to my house, get this stuff, put it in a box, and mail it to me," because he was staying
Yeah.
off somewhere else. Every time I'd go over there, I would take two random movies and swap the discs and put them back on the shelf, and do that with two random games too.
It's so mean. So mean. I'm not saying unfair or unjustified given everything I know, but I get what you're saying. Point is.
Yeah,
Now there's a concern I hadn't thought about in my constant quest to buy you video games is I don't want to give money to this publisher. Not I don't want to give my money, I don't want to give money to this publisher. Not necessarily a protest, just a conspicuous absence of support.
it's specifically to the publishers too.
Right.
I know the devs don't. They're people. They are normal people. They are not just black box machines.
Right.
You know, it's the same way with. I feel the same way about movies. A lot of times, the hatred comes from the studio.
Mm-hmm.
It's either or. It's either like you don't want to go see this movie because you hate the one actor in it. And yes, they got a lot of money for it, but you are also hurting the entirely publishing industry of that studio, most of which had nothing to do with that. They were just a name that fronted money. And also the hundreds of other people that made that movie that do get a cut of that,
Yeah.
that got paid, that are why that studio is in business to pay those other people. So it's like you're boycotting the wrong, or a lot of times people boycott video game publishers for another dumb reason. And all you're doing is hurting the people underneath it. Sony Game Studios, which in no way is actually related to Sony, the electronics
Yeah.
manufacturer,
Which is in no way
made dumb
related to
decision with
Sony Pictures.
Helldivers.
Yeah.
Right. And people were like boycotting Sony Pictures movies because of one dumb decision at Sony publishers.
Mm-hmm.
It's like we have the same problem with Microsoft. People feel like, oh, I hate Xbox, so I'm like, F you Microsoft Office. And I'm like, these companies are barely tangentially related. Barely. They are one good FCC like breakup away from just being separate companies.
Yeah.
There, I think within our lifetime, we're gonna see Microsoft pulling an HP and just like breaking up some of their parts and actually forking off Office, which could stand alone. It is a revenue generator, and Xbox, which is a revenue generator from Microsoft Core Windows.
My question is, would they go alphabet style or not?
If they do that, that's purely financial. I'm talking if we see a Google problem
Yeah.
where Google makes both ends, Google's got the problem that they both sell the ads and the method to serve the ads.
Mm-hmm.
That's the core of the current lawsuit right now. It's not that they are, a monopoly. It's the fact that you also have the browser that is the main dominant one that also serves the ads, but also you're selling those ads. Also, you're buying the other end that the ads are being sold on. It's like kind of an accidental monopoly, but what do you want to do?
A little bit. A little bit.
Sell a browser? Like, how does that even work?
Well, see, once upon a time, you already know this. I don't need to tell you that web browsers
Yeah.
used to be a product you had to pay for, and then Microsoft broke the model by giving one away for free. And it was the best one until there was a piece of competition.
I got made fun of last week because somebody came over and was looking. He had just randomly was cutting through and stopped by to say hi because he knew me.
Yeah.
And he looked at my screen. He's like, "Wait, you use Edge?" And I'm like, "Yeah."
No, I
He's like,
used Chrome. I
"Why?"
just used the Microsoft build.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, "Why?" And I'm like, "Spite." Because I use Chrome for everything else. I do also use Chrome,
Mm-hmm.
but we do so many things that we need to have logged into 2 different IDs at once. And if you in all the browsers, if you switch profiles, it's not just for that window, it loads the whole thing. It's like
Yep.
I need to be in my main thing. Sometimes if I need to do something temporarily, I can use the incognito in that, but that saves one context. But sometimes I need my admin account, so I use Chrome for that. And
And
if I
it helps you
truly need
fence off
something,
the context in your head, too.
yes, because also I use vertical tabs on Edge and I don't on Chrome, so I can tell if I click something over here, it loads in my admin account, which has got way more privileges, and Edge is my default browser. So if I click a link, it's never going to accidentally open the page in my admin context.
Right.
And he
It's a
just like,
defense mechanism at that point. Yeah.
and I told like that's why I do it. He's like, oh shit, I
And
just I just have them all in profiles in one thing. Like yeah, and don't really, you're never sure when you click a link. And he's like, oh, that is so much a better. Yeah, it's a whole different browser.
yeah, makes
Yep.
makes much more sense that way.
And I
Yes.
have a browser theme on that's wildly different color, so I could even just tell at a glance.
Yep. Yep.
Oh man, I made the best discovery this week.
Hmm.
We use Citrix for all these like remote boxes for stuff.
Yeah.
Some are individual tools, some are just like a way to get to a web page that's in a different like a jump box type thing. You can leave files on the desktop. We save something and it stays there. And only you can see it because it does actually load your profile on there. If you can save files and it's loading a thing, what other thing is based on the desktop that would be saved in your own profile?
Your theme, your background, your. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I went through and I saved backgrounds on all the different things related to the name that they are on. Because some of the things are named after celestial bodies. So you know what I did? I immediately went and got pictures of those celestial bodies and set that as the background. So I'm alt tabbing through which of these Citrix windows is that. Hey, that one's got rings. That's Saturn. I know which one that is. I can alt tab right to it, opposed to stopping and reading the
Yep.
titles and the
Yep.
descriptions because some of them are just letters and numbers that are some cryptic thing you decode. It's like, no, but we know it is Saturn. I can tell which one's Saturn.
There are sometimes you and I butt heads when we work on things, and there are just as many, if not more, times when I'm like, "Thank you for having the brain."
The people on my team have been here at least 3 or 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody's thought to do this.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't even know you could change the background. No one thought to check if you could change the background, it would save it. What? Like, what?
Makes perfect sense to me. It is not your machine, and despite the fact that you are physically able to, you do not, therefore, think I should customize this for myself.
I just.
Just reflexively, that's why they never thought about it. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. I don't know.
Me neither.
I don't know, man.
I am glad that you have helped them discover a new option for that. I'll go with that.
It's just like the vertical monitor thing.
Yep. Yep.
Like, why'd you do that? I'm like, whoosh, web page. Tickets are long.
With that in mind, I think we're going to take a 5-minute bathroom break. Go ahead and grab yourself something to drink. Get up, take a stretch, pet your Finch, whatever you need to do. We will catch you guys in just about 5.
Yep.
See you shortly. time again. Hello and welcome back to the Blue House Bull Session. Back here bulling with you. I had a bite of my sandwich. Fuzzy managed to get himself some bread. We are glad to be back. Thank you for sticking around. Man, that bread looks good. He comes back with his giant slice of real actual bread the size of his head. And then he sends me a picture of the whole loaf.
Yeah, it was like a full sourdough round.
I'm one of those people who didn't get into bread making at the start of the pandemic. And honestly, I'm a little sad about it now because I'd really like to make my own bread. I know it's for my layout of kitchen and amount of pets, it is
Yeah,
problematic. But I
I
still
mean, you
love
could
the
do like a
concept so
sourdough,
much. Yeah. I'm
because then
really
that's a whole
tempted to
lot
get a
less.
bread maker.
You know, I'm surprised you don't have one.
For all the kitchen gadgets I have, that's one that I don't, and I too am kind of surprised by that. But, you know, maybe someday. I'll get it and put it right next to the ice cream maker I don't have yet but want to get, and the stuff for making sausages I don't have yet and want to get. Okay, the ice cream maker's a joke. That would just be for dumb stuff. The sausage maker, I eat a ton of sausages, and I am also interested in learning to make my own. I would actually use that. Would I use it all the time? A lot? I don't know. Would I use it at all? Yes.
Oh shit!
Uh-oh.
I might need to leave early.
Oh, no worries at all. No worries at all.
I just realized I I do have to leave early.
We can cut and run whenever
I
you need to. Just let me know.
about 15 minutes before 8. I
Sounds good.
forgot I bought stuff and I was gonna go after work, and then after work turned into more after work, and then it was like, oh hey, showtime.
Yeah, it is. It
And then
is about that.
I just realized we go from 6 to 8, and they close the pickup place closes at 8. And they throw away all the stuff that's expired, and I bought some stuff that expires today, so they're gonna throw it away.
I'll tell you what. We'll cut at 7:30 just to make sure you get your stuff safely. Also, it gives me an excuse to eat my sandwich before it gets too cold. We're going to stop at 7:30.
All right.
I lied. I lied earlier. During the break, when we have ourselves muted, we have a little conversation about what we have left to talk about. And I mentioned to Fuzzy that I had something I wanted to ask him about on break. And you know what? I lied. I'm going to ask him here publicly. I like streaming development in a broad, general sense when I'm working on stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Separately, I enjoy using GitHub Copilot and LLM-backed development tools.
Mm-hmm.
I have had some questions float through my head recently about that combination.
Are you still a developer if you're just AI coding? It's not vibe coding, but you're using strongly assistedness.
Would it be problematic from a optics standpoint if I'm working on something for Hergel and I'm streaming myself vibe coding? There's the ultimate combination.
If you're vibe coding it entirely,
no,
probably.
If I'm going back in and fixing, but if I'm letting it build large chunks of things, verifying and fixing myself.
If you're vibe scaffolding, that's fine, because that's no different than like loading like a starter template project.
Also, thank you, Amaya, so
You're just
much. We appreciate you.
You're just getting a custom scaffold together.
What if it starts to get away from under me? Because I don't get to dictate. Coding, yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah. Is the people that are I'm glad more people are getting into programming of some flavor and getting new things made, because it does open up a new avenue to people who want something custom and would have to describe that. They would have to describe in that same amount of detail As a project manager or a document, it's like, oh, go hire, a programmer on Fiverr or something. Like, you're still gonna describe it. You're just cutting out the middleman.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's taking, money out of programmers' mouths or whatever. But at the same time, no, because whatever bullshit thing that the people that are vibe coding are making, no programmer would probably, you would not have enough money to pay a decent programmer to make that for you. And that thing is never going to get made. You know, it's like, I want to commission art, a mural for my wall, but it's like, I'm not going to go hire a named painter. Like, I could also just go get some kids and describe what I want and let them paint something. That's effectively what the vibe coding is doing.
Right. I guess where I get personally hung up is in this specific combination of things. I'm not against showing the fact that I like to type things into Claude and let it make things for me. I'm okay with that. That's me as a human being.
Yeah.
I'm good streaming that. I'm comfortable doing it and announcing it publicly. If I'm streaming it and people come in and they're like, you're not a real dev, I'll be like, all right, cool. I have a thing now.
Bad.
Okay.
Yeah.
But
No.
that's why I bring up the optics of what if I am doing this publicly for a thing that we collectively as a studio plan on releasing as a game? Is that a bad look for us collectively? Is that something I should be more mindful of?
I don't think so.
Okay.
We would have to have a discussion about it, but pretty much assume,
If we've already kind of announced that this is in our toolkit, although we have done a lot of this from scratch before it
But
was
we
in
ma-
our toolkit.
but we make a lot of customizations.
Right.
If you ask AI to, like, hey, generate me a like, this is what I want. I want it to do this. I need a scaffold like this. I need data structure like this. Make it all happen. And then we go and actually add the stuff on top of it.
Yeah.
How is that any different?
Yeah.
You know,
Fair. Fair.
the icky part gets into not using the audio or visual generative AI stuff
Oh, definitely.
because of the way that those are
Sourced.
stable the diffusion of the graphical stuff comes from somewhere.
Right.
Just look at all the stories of, like, the watermarks still clearly being in it, or that whole, not Destiny, the marathon
Yeah.
thing, clearly, intent or not, but it's coming from somewhere. Arguably, code stuff kind of does the same thing, but it's different because coding is like a language.
Well, see,
And that's like saying you derive a book, but it used same words, and it's like, but you're directing it differently.
right. It's one of the problems that you run into a lot in teaching programming is if you're evaluating a student's code, it's a lot tougher than with an essay to say whether or not two pieces of identical content come from the same person or different people.
And especially if you're teaching them, they're new. All their code is going to look like whatever thing you were using for tutorials or templates, because that's the only thing they have to go on.
Yeah.
It's why little kids pick up, an accent from their parents. It's not that they're teaching the accent, it's just that's the noise they heard. So that's how they assume that's how that word is pronounced.
Yeah.
If you grew up your entire youth and you had only ever heard the word hyperbole, you inherently don't know any better. The same way with code. If you learned a language entirely from one guy's YouTube videos,
Yeah. You're going to sound like that guy.
Everything you type is gonna look like how he codes. Yeah. Whatever crazy weird little things he does, those are the habits you're gonna learn.
Fair. Fair.
I I am not against using parts of AI code if I know I described it into existence.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna say, "Hey, I want an app that does this and just makes the whole app and the whole thing," and you're just and I'm like, "I'm a programmer." It's like, "No." But if I've got a function that I can describe with like a full paragraph, it's like, "Look, I don't feel like writing this out. I know this is a solved problem. I just don't want to do the work for it. Like, here's the input, here's the output. I needed to kind of do this. Leave comments so I can expand it because you're not gonna. I don't want to describe all the things I want to add,
Yeah.
but like, don't don't collapse your ternaries. I want to add space to add stuff in there.
Yeah.
Please add a blank else block because I'm going to add other stuff. I'll add the error handling later. You don't need to code the error handling. I'll put that in. You know, have it do this one thing, but leave space because I'm going to add six other things that are going to do.
Right.
I just don't want to write the structure of this out.
Yep. 100%. 100%. Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. That's what it is. And
Yeah.
that's the reason, okay, a lot of the fear mongering in the media right now in this specific niche of tech, they're like, oh, it's coming for development jobs. Oh, it can write code. It's coming for development jobs. The thing is,
Coming
it's
for
not,
intern jobs.
yeah, it's not as good at reading and understanding code and fixing code and debugging because it can only
Yeah.
process based on the training. The hardest skill a developer can learn is to read and understand source code. Anybody can write code. Anybody.
Yep. Yep.
But to understand what someone else was thinking with the way they did things and follow it through and fix and change it as necessary is the skill you need. And we're getting to the point where that is going to be the ability to be hired. Everyone's going
Is
to be
there
vibe coding. The people who can fix what the machine did wrong are the people who are going to be in demand.
Yeah. Yeah. Is there I kind of okay, disclaimer. I am not a musical person at all. I have the worst white boy rhythm ever, and I have no musical talent. I failed at the recorder, okay? Which as we found out later is actually legitimately hard to play because it's a horrible instrument
Yeah.
in every possible way. But I musically, I see the same way with people that can just pick up and play music versus the people that can actually read like sheet music.
Yeah.
Because you can pick up an instrument and you can make noise and you can either replicate other people. You might even be able to make your own stuff. But there's a whole difference between like understanding music fundamental theory and like reading the sheet music and actually understanding what you're playing, not just I heard smoke on the water and I can make my hand do the right pattern to make those same noises come out.
Yeah.
Picking up a guitar and just vibing and just jamming out and just playing whatever and fragments of things, I see that kind of like vibe coding versus like
You can
I know
make the
how
sounds
music
that
actually
people are
works
okay with. Yeah.
and I can read other people's the instructions for it and I could make my own. And there's a purpose for both. And sometimes you do need to just kind of jam out on an instrument freestyle to make something new, but you are just accidentally creating something new versus actually understanding it.
Yeah. You collaborate with others, you're so much more limited in what you can communicate and do with others if you 100%. So
Oh
many
yeah.
problems. Okay, okay, okay. Where is
I had that problem with him and the code we're talking about. Sometimes he'll make stuff, and I know he didn't write every line of it. I can tell, and there's some parts of it that I'm like, why the hell did you? And I'm like, oh, you didn't actually write this part. You described this into existence,
Yeah.
and it indeed does what you want. But I'm like, this is not how a sane person would do it. This is how a machine that understands finished, efficient code would also make finished, efficient code.
For this
But
one specific
it
part.
skips
Yeah.
the middleman where humans trial and error, and we grow the thing, and then we get it to work and lock it in. Versus like I know the answer. Here is the solution from the first step. And you're like,
Yeah. And
yeah,
that's kind of where I find myself. That's why I mentioned it about fish digits is the overwhelming majority of that was not hands-on keyboard me writing code for things. The overwhelming
yeah,
majority of it, to be honest, is me describing individually how features should work
yeah.
and having them attached together. And now I'm at a point where I have to manually go back and clean some things up, which I should have been doing all along, but that would also imply that I had a plan. And one thing we've discussed many times is I never had a plan going into this.
Yeah.
So I'm now at the point where I'm retroactively making my plan by going back and organizing things. And the multiple map things broke some other things. And that's what brings all of this up in the first place is I've had an urge to share a development stream, but it's going to be me and Claude Opus, no, Sonnet 4. Me and Claude Sonnet 4 working together. Is that going to make people piss on our headquarters and boycott our product?
I'm trying to think what
And you know what? You know what? While I'm
super
here yelling
useful.
and waving my arms, I'm going to interrupt and point out one more thing. The only reason this is a concern is I want y'all to get paid for what we do. I don't want to screw over you guys. If it was just me studios, I'd be like, fuck it. I want this game to exist. I'm going to will it into existence using the magic of the machine. And if anybody doesn't like it and doesn't want to buy it, cool. I'm going to go play it now. But
Let me point this out. You still came up with the idea,
yes.
right? You
Well,
still had the
okay, wait. One caveat there. Because we actually have in our credits a concept line where someone came up with the concept.
okay, the not the concept, but like you came up with the mechanics
Right.
and stuff, and you had the thoughts. You didn't just like go make me a Pokemon clone.
Right.
You did not vote vibe code. Go make me a clone of this and just describe all that. It is mechanics that you came up with. Like
Yes.
you,
I went and I
for some point of
manually
this,
built tile maps. I manually put in all the objects. I
okay,
described this is a map and the character should behave this way on it. Here's a character object. Here, hook this up.
are you less of a developer if you use RPG Maker versus handwriting the functions to move the sprites around?
I'm the wrong person to ask that, but my answer is no.
Okay.
That's
I'm,
that's
I'm trying. I'm trying to think of something else.
that's
You
that's
know.
where I sit with it though, Maya. Is I don't want to use generated visuals. I don't want to use generated music. That's a hard line that we have in our company. If
Yeah.
you need a placeholder, you can. We will absolutely never release with any of that. But in
Yeah.
terms of the actual like underlying source code, how much of that has to be home rolled, etc. But yeah, that worry is the same worry I have, is what I'm saying. And
I'm trying to come up with
streaming it
another
is where yeah.
analogy in the world that we would have a super useful, very pervasive crutch that just everybody became like, oh, that's so much better. Cars. We could still be riding horses. They're perfectly functional. And then we have cars and you can go farther and they don't get tired and they just go.
Well, that's the thing is technically we're using generative AI for the code, but not for anything else. But yeah, I get what you're saying though. Make it clear where the separation is. I get that. I get that.
How is it different than if you just used like autocomplete, like dumb autocomplete for like a lot of stuff? You know, you didn't,
Yeah.
you used templated code snippets. You used autocomplete to like, you used
Yeah.
for all your like React has that problem.
Yeah.
every single goddamn React project ever starts with a line like create new React project, and it
Create
copies
React
this
app, yeah.
master template. Well, create React app was even worse, but like even other ones, like there's a standard framework, and everybody just goes off of that, and it's like, you didn't write your Webpack file by hand. You're not a real web developer. And it's like, yeah, nobody does. We have templates for this.
You raise a very good point. I think part of it is that because it has become a buzzword, there has become buzzword resistance. There are a lot of valid arguments for and
Yeah.
against different types, et cetera, et cetera. But it is also a hot button issue just by name. And I worry because I don't want people to. Gannon is a developer. I know that. I'll ask his
Blockchain has the
opinion
same
too.
problem.
Yeah. Yeah.
Blockchain has the same tainted thing. Blockchain is a great technology. All it is a ledger. It's just an in-out ledger that everybody shares. It's a cloud ledger. That's all it is. Whatever you do with blockchain technology is not Bitcoin.
Right.
It is not crypto. Actual blockchain is just a permanent open ledger that everybody can read and verify going back forever. That's it. It does not crypto.
But
Same with NFTs. NFTs at its core is a great technology.
yeah.
It just got looped into some really dumbass shit.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm going to be doing a dev stream sometime soon. me and my good friend Claude Sonnet 4. And if they decide to burn down our headquarters, I will have learned a valuable lesson. How about that?
Hey, you know what you could do? I could leave. You could get one of these schmucks in here to fill in for the last half hour and bullshit with them.
Yes, but then my sandwich will get cold. Remember I was going to take advantage and leave early so I could eat the rest of my cheesesteak?
Yeah, that's true.
No, what I want to do is what they did at the stupid thing I saw on Hacker News the other day. I want to stand up a Docker VM with the like Claude CLI tools installed.
Yeah.
And I want to just set it up in a loop.
Okay.
I hope you feel better
For
soon. Is it because of the
for
direct?
whatever-
Was it the motorcycle? Is that what made you sick?
For whatever point of semi AI that like Bing will kind of generate you a little bit of code in their snippets, it's not just like scraped stuff.
Yeah.
I have been I needed to know how to do a thing in PowerShell commands with get AD user to do a thing with Active Directory because I couldn't. The Active Directory interface is garbage.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I know there's a way to filter this. I need to get all the users with this prefix, with these variables, but I need to know whose accounts are expired, but also format. It returns the time codes in this dumb format that Excel uses, which is one big integer, but it's not like nanoseconds or whatever. It's a weird timestamp format. And I'm like, okay, I can just Google the right things and it will tell me what I need. And I did, and I took it and I pasted it and I got the list of all the users in this customer and whose accounts were expired because they were like, some of our people can't get in. Guess what? I dumped the 30 users. Guess what? 6 people couldn't get in.
Mm-hmm.
Your accounts were expired. If you would have told us, it pops up and says, my password's expired, we could have just reset it and not, there's an error.
Yeah.
But like, I have no qualms against using ChatGPT. I code with ChatGPT all the time, but I explicitly go to another window and ask it a question in abstract and get the answer and go back. I almost never use AI in VS Code to write code, except documentation. I will absolutely select a function and just type /doc and have it just attempt to vomit out a doc block for a function, and then I fixed a few things that just like took a wild guess based on my code.
Yeah.
I don't want to write documentation by hand. I don't want to type out all that stuff, but I can fix the few things that you could not glean from context.
Yeah.
I write a lot of my code separately because I'm asking it questions. It is not writing the code. It is effectively AI written, but it is not AI generated.
Right.
Am I any different than you?
Well, no, I get, and I agree. I agree.
You know,
I am using it as a glorified autocomplete, sort of. The point is,
what did Amaya say there?
the point is fish digits. The point is, I want to do dev streams, but I use Copilot, and I'm nervous about it, and I should get over being nervous about it because since it is a documented and public part of our workflow, people should already know that we are using these tools. And if these are tools that we are using, they shouldn't, blah, blah, blah. And if that really changes their opinion on the end result of our products, then I don't want to say I don't want their custom, but you don't have to buy it.
I think as long as we're clear and
Yeah.
we give clear credit, like on the poster, like not just in the credits, but I think if we get like credit, art was handcrafted
Yeah.
by artists, and music by
Yeah.
like right there, very very out
Oh
in
yeah.
front.
Oh yeah.
I don't think anybody's going to begrudge us using any sort of code assisting tools, including some AI assistant,
Yeah.
no more than they would us using syntax highlighting.
Yeah.
At this point, it's gotten so good, there's no reason not to. Yes, my website was handcrafted line by line in Notepad, and I read the docs and I know what I'm doing, versus I used Dreamweaver.
Front page, whatever you make web pages in anymore.
Right.
Yeah.
It's the same thing.
Yeah.
If web page GUIs existed, if you used Front Page or Dreamweaver or any of that, that just you drew a web page into existence and it shed out the most horrible HTML possible.
Well, it's like
Both
Unreal
made
has
websites.
the visual programming thing too.
Yeah. Is that any
same
is
kind
that
of thing.
any different?
I see. I see and like your point. I'm good with that. I think I have my answer comfortably now.
I see the use of AI if you actually aren't just shitbox vibe coding it an entire thing. As long as you know what you're doing, you're just speeding up the process. No worse than using a WYSIWYG editor to make a web page.
Yeah.
If
Fair.
you've only ever made a web page in Squarespace or something, are you were a web designer? I would not say you were a web programmer.
Yeah.
But the point is not the title, it's the product.
Yeah. Yeah.
One of the best lines I ever heard, and I really don't know where it came from anymore, is we do not ship lines of code.
Mm-hmm.
We ship a product. Nobody gives a fuck how few or how many lines of comments you had, or how few lines you managed to code golf that one line of Ruby into like one 100 character line that did 16 nested ternaries. Nobody gives a fuck if the button doesn't work.
Yeah. Yeah. Point taken. Point taken. Well, welcome everybody. We're glad you're all here. We're actually just about to wrap up. I'm going to let Fuzzy get out of here and go pick up his groceries. I will try. I will fail, but I will try to be back over the weekend working on development stuff. I do actually want to work on fish digits out in the open. I want to let it get a little bit of sun. It's a dumb idea, but I'm having so much fun. Thank you all so much for being here. Make sure you're in the Discord. Make sure you're following the project. We're going to go raid into... Who do we want to go raid into? We're going to go raid into Kaizo Coliseum. The question is, whose stream are we raiding into? Jackson's is up. Let's go raid into Jackson's stream. Come watch Kaizo Coliseum with us going on this weekend. Have all sorts of fun. Thank you for being around, and we will catch you next time on the Blue House Bull Session.